Okay, hi everyone. Today I'm gonna talk about how to install RGB fans onto your case. Um, Basically for amateurs. And this is a Fanatec Shift 2 here right now, and it has a controller that comes with where you can change the RGB and stuff. But I want to caution that with RGB lighting, you don't actually need a controller built into the case. Usually it uses proprietary cables for it to work. So proprietary cables to work. So normally with any PC case that you build, you'll be able to put like RGB on it with any case, as long as the motherboard supports it. And yeah, so I'm gonna show you something. Like, I have this manual that one of my motherboards, an X570, and I'm just gonna go to the page that talks about the RGB. And so this is the motherboard here, and you know what? It's basically 5 says DLED, 6 LEDC, and so there's basically RGB here, and 6 would be basically around there is the other RGB cable. So these two RGBs. It's very small, you can't see it. But that's not. I'm not really here for you to see this diagram. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit. And you can see the 5 and 6 there. And so there's two types of RGBs, and some of them call it ARGB, RGB, and all this crap. And to be honest with you, it's confusing as hell. So I'm going to simplify it for you today and help you understand what this all means. So I'm just going to put this aside here. The first thing I wanted to stress again is any case where a motherboard, most of the new motherboards, starting with like the 8th generation Intel and Ryzen 3s, AM4, AM5, most of the motherboards already support the RGB connector. So here in this case you won't see it here, but I'm pointing at it. This is an RGB connector here. And so most motherboards will have at least one RGB connectors. For the newer ones, it's already built in, okay? So if it's built in to the case, excuse me, to the motherboard, then you're going to get RGB. In fact, this is my Nocturia 92mm fan. I just updated with an RGB fan here, so this gives me color now. And my graphics card, the 2080 Super, and behind here also is RGB, and these are RGB fans as well. So it's all synced up. Okay, so let me simplify this for you just to keep things simple. So just to recap, if there's controllers on the case, don't worry about that. That's not a requirement for RGB. The main thing is that as long as the motherboard supports it, in very simple terms, usually there's at least one connector. That's all you need to have RGB fans in your case, okay? And so there's going to be like two types of fans, right? There's going to be just a regular fan that you see here, and this one basically just comes with a 4-pin connector, and so this is just a regular fan, right? And it doesn't have RGB. Okay, just want to make that distinction. But for RGB fans, I'm just gonna open this up here. Just close this up here. Let's close this up. Okay. So for RGB fans, like here's an example of another set of RGB fans that I got. These are like $10. Actually $20 for 3 fans, right? These are called Thermalright. I think these are the best value fans on Amazon right now. Sorry, I'll be right back. Let me just take this out. I'll be right back. I'm back. So this is an RGB fan. This is an RGB fan. This is an RGB fan, and there's basically addressable and non-addressable connections. But just to simplify it even further, the best way to think about it is not to get into the nitty gritty. Is just think of it like a 4-pin connector and a 3-pin connector for RGB. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. Let me just put this down for a sec. Alright, so this here is like non-addressable, but just want to show you like all it really is. Let me see if my camera can pick this up. Let me just zoom out a little bit. This is a 4-pin connector, okay, for RGB. So just call this the 4-pin or the non-addressable. But in simple terms, just call this a 4-pin RGB connector. That's the easiest way to understand it. And this is a 3-pin connector. Okay, you should not put a 3-pin connector into a 4-pin connection on their motherboard, because you can actually fry your motherboard. So just something to be aware of. Just make sure that the 3-pin addressable goes into the 3-pin. And there's, how do you know? Because then the connection is only going to have 3 pins. The 3-pin, literally 3 pins for you to connect. And the second pin is going to be disabled. So you're just going to see 1 pin, 2 pins. So 3 holes, and then the second hole you can't actually stick anything in. So you can't put a 4-pin into a 3-pin connection on the motherboard per se. So that's how you tell the difference in terms of the plug. I find that most motherboards, like the advanced ones, will have both 4-pin and 3-pin. 4-pin here and 3-pin. But more and more I see a lot of so the newer motherboards have at least one of each connection, but most of the motherboards nowadays I see only has 3 pins. 3 pins are addressable. So think of this like a level 2 RGB connection, and this is like the 4-pin is the level 1. So a lot of people are like foregoing this 4-pin and just going to just 3-pin only. So what I'm saying is addressable RGB is level 2. It's more of the advanced RGB, because you can get basically, addressable means you just basically can get more colors and more patterns and stuff. That's what basically the difference is. And you're going to see more and more of this. Okay, so what all this is there's going to be a 3-pin connector. This motherboard has a 3-pin connector, and it's underneath this thing here, and you just plug it in, and you have RGB on this. And then the fan connector would just be this connection here that goes into the fan connector. And this is a 4-pin, which allows you to control the fan speed. So this is a 4-pin. So that goes into the motherboard to give power to the fans. And this addressable 3-pin goes into the motherboard, okay, to give you the color. So you can plug this in without plugging in the fan, and what's going to happen is you're just going to get color, but the fan's not going to move. So you have to have both connections. So one is to power the fan, and one is to give it color, which is the 3-pin. Okay, so when you're setting up, so in conclusion of the matter, right, just to simplify this, very simple, is that this is the same fan here that I'm showing here and here. Okay, so these are the same fans as I'm showing here. These are the same ones. Okay, and this is also a 3-pin addressable 3-pin RGB connection. Okay, so all you need to do to get RGB in your case, right, is that just make sure your fan, like this one here, right, also comes with a splitter. So this has a splitter, like you can see the splitter right here, right? It's also known as daisy chain. Okay, this also has a fan splitter built in. Okay, so when you have a fan splitter, what happens is you can connect this fan with this fan by connecting this into the daisy chain. So I'm going to try to do this right now. It's going to be kind of difficult, but I'm going to try it. So this goes in here like this. Okay, I'm gonna wait. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. So the splitter that's built into this fan here, I connected this with this. And so all is needed is this fan header we'll put into the motherboard, and then this will give power to both fans. And same thing with the RGB, right? I connected the two RGB because it comes with an RGB splitter. And then this just needs to go into the motherboard, into 3-pin basically. And then you're gonna give RGB, so that will sync up. And so you can get like a third fan, a fourth fan, a fifth fan, or sixth fan, or seventh fan, and you can just basically daisy chain all of them. And then all you need is one connection to the motherboard, because usually for the 3-pin there's only one connection. And then if you only have one fan header, that's fine. But usually the fans that you're gonna sync up, make sure that they're the same. Like this is 120 meter, this is 120 meter. They should be the same brand and the same specs. And then this way you can control all of the fans using one header, and you'll be able to sync up the RGB with the one header as well, right? And same thing with this. Like this is also a Thermaltake 92 millimeters, so I actually daisy chained it with this as well. So all the fan headers are not the fan headers, but the RGB is synced up, right? And then this fan header will have to go to the CPU connection, of course, because that's the CPU fan. But the other fans could be daisy chained up, and then goes to this connection here. So that's it. That concludes my video in terms of RGB. So just to sum it up, is your motherboard should have at least a 3-pin RGB connection. I would just go with like 3-pin. Like don't mix 4-pin with 3 pins because it just makes the sync complicated. So if you're gonna do like, if your mother has like a 4-pin RGB, then just do all 4-pin RGBs. If your mother has 3-pin RGB connection, then just do one 3-pin RGB, and then just daisy chain up. You can get these fans here, Thermalright, and you know they come with the fan splitter and the RGB splitters, so that way you don't need to buy any additional accessories to get all the fans. So this is connected to this fan, right? Connected to this fan in the bottom, and then it's all daisy chained, so just for one connection. And then once you turn that on, because it's an ASUS motherboard and an ASUS graphics card, you can sync it all up. It will all recognize under the ASUS software. That's what, and then you'll be able to just sync it up on any way you want. You can change, once you change one color to one fan, because it's only one header, it will change the color for everything else. And because it's a ASUS graphics card, it will do the same. So I just want to share how you can like set up RGB fans into your PC for amateurs, and I hope that helps. Thanks for watching.